Okay, so I will go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Zoom recording automation workshop. We are going to learn how to configure your recordings into Canvas. And now this is a hands-on workshop if you want it to be. So if you are able to have the Zoom window open and also open a browser with your Canvas course in it, feel free to go ahead and get that ready so you can follow along when we get to the how-to section. If you can't do that or you just want to focus on what I'm saying, you can just watch. This will be recorded and available to you later. And I will share a document at the end that you can keep with directions on how to do everything I'm going to cover. Well, not everything I'm going to cover, but the main thing I'm going to cover. So to keep with our 45-minute time limit, you are all muted, and I ask that you remain muted and send all of your questions to the chat. We have Jennifer here. She's going to call those questions out to me at appropriate times. But if you need me to slow down or repeat something, she will interrupt me. So go ahead and type that in the chat if it happens, and she will let me know. So first, I hope that you have all seen the Provost's attendance options for spring. It mentions recordings, how and why to record, we will talk about. So you see here, per SMU requirements, recordings of synchronous classes will be made available as accommodations when necessary. That means, in my opinion, record all of your classes, because if a student drops out because they had their Wi-Fi cut out or their computer died, it is their responsibility to request the video, but you have to make it available to them within 48 hours. So if you forget to record one day and you don't have that video, then that's not good for the student. So we will first, does anyone have any questions about this policy and how and why we want to record? I understand that some people are worried that if you make everything available to your students, they'll never come to class and they'll just watch the recording. So it's up to you if you want to make it completely available to them after class, every student, or if you want to use the students must request and then you'll get it to them within 48 hours. Just make sure you put that on your syllabus. Okay, so let me switch to sharing my Canvas course. It would help if I hadn't closed it. 1 second. Okay, so if you were in my Zoom basics, rediscovering the basics class yesterday, we went over how to schedule your meeting straight from Zoom. So today we're going to talk about how to schedule it from the Canvas course and why you would do that. So I'm in my Canvas course here. I can see Zoom and I can see Panopto here. These are the two things that we're going to talk about. If you don't have these options and you're not sure how to get them, settings, navigation tab, it typically takes you to course details, but if you go to the navigation tab, you have everything here that is visible to students. You can rearrange these just by dragging and dropping, and anything down below is hidden. Some of them are hidden just from students, but not from you. Some of them are hidden from the course entirely. So if you don't see Zoom or Panopto and they're down here, just drag them up to the top and click Save. Are there any questions before we get started?
We have some questions, but I think that they're fine to answer at the end. They're not about the process yet.
Okay. So to schedule our class session inside Canvas, we're going to click on Zoom. If you see this page, it will prompt you to sign into Zoom. And then when you go back, you should see all of your meetings. So the reason that you would want to schedule your classes through Canvas is because when you do this, all the students enrolled in your course will automatically see it when they click on Zoom. So let me point something out. Right now, I see all of my meetings, but only the students enrolled in this course would see the meetings that I scheduled from this course. So if you schedule them on Zoom, that's fine. You would just need to put the link either on your homepage, your syllabus, or in an announcement so that they have it. If you schedule it through Canvas using the Zoom tool, they automatically have it. So I'm going to click schedule a new meeting, and it will make your topic, your title, automatically the name of your course. You can change this if you want. We went through this, we've gone through this, but I'll just quickly move through it again. You choose the day and time of the first occurrence. You set the duration, and now this, I will tell you, does not stop your meeting after 1 hour. It's simply to tell your students this meeting will be an hour. If it is a recurring meeting, it will likely be a weekly recurrence. So you choose the days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you choose the end date of whatever the last day of your class is. Video is if your video and your participants' video start on when the meeting begins. They can always turn it on or off if you allow them. Audio, we like to leave on both. And then you have your meeting options. Requiring a passcode puts the passcode into the link. So students still just click on Zoom, they click join meeting, they don't have to type in that passcode. Allowing participants to join allows them to join before you. So this typically isn't a big deal, but if you have your meeting set to automatically record, which is what we're talking about in this session, if a student joins before you, the recording is going to start. They will likely see that red flashing button and leave. If you have your recordings linked to automatically go to your course, you're going to have a bunch of 60-second, 2-minute videos of students sitting there or panicking and leaving the meeting. So I would not turn this on if you're going to automatically record, but that's just my personal preference. It's up to you. So muting participants upon entry starts everyone muted, and then we'll choose automatically record in the cloud. Once we save this, we have our meeting scheduled. If we go to Zoom, we see it added. So that is this one here. And I will show you, if I go into student view and I click on Zoom, I only see that meeting that I just scheduled because it's related to this course and it was scheduled in this course. So some things that come up about this, just want to reiterate, the meetings that you schedule from inside the course are the only ones students can see. So if you're scheduling office hours and it is for this course and another course, and students can come from both courses to this office hour, if you do that inside one of the courses, the other course will not see that from this Zoom page. So you'll need to post that link on your homepage, on your syllabus, or in an announcement so that they can see it. Do we have any questions about simply scheduling the meeting and setting it to record?
So Faye, I think some people aren't seeing Zoom on their navigation side. So can you just real quick show them how they enable that on their toolbar there?
So if you go to settings and then choose the navigation tab at the top, you should see Zoom at the bottom. You can drag it to the top and click save. Once you do that, it will appear wherever you placed it in the order here.
All right.
Okay, so now we have scheduled our Zoom meeting. And here it is. I will need this meeting ID to link it to Panopto, but I'm going to pause for a second. So everything you record into the Zoom cloud, if you have a Panopto account, automatically goes to your private Panopto folder. If you want to follow the protocol of not making the students have automatic access to the recordings and only sharing it with those who need it once they request it, you will not link your Zoom meeting to your course folder, because then everyone will have access. Leaving it not linked to anything sends it to your private folder that only you can access, and then you can share it with those students that request it. And I will get into that after I go through the linking of the course folder, if you want to automatically just have your videos go to your course folder. Are there any questions about course folder, private folder? Do we understand that? So a course folder, I'll just get, even if there are not questions, I want to clarify. Course folder is what your students click on in Panopto in their course, and they can see all of the Panopto videos associated with your course. Your private folder is just your folder. You are the only one that can see those videos. So this is my course folder. I can see all of the videos that I have shared to this folder, and most of them were Zoom meetings that I linked to this course and set to record to the cloud. So you can get to Panopto from any course and then view another folder. You can also view Panopto as a whole. So that's what we're going to do now to set up this linking. So if I click on Panopto and then I choose this pop-out icon, open in Panopto, it's going to open a new tab where I am now viewing that course folder in Panopto. To link my course, actually first, I don't remember if I copied this meeting ID, so I am going to need this meeting ID. This is the course meeting that I want to link to the folder. So now I go back to Panopto. I'm going to click my name and user settings. First, under meeting import settings, default folder, if you don't see my folder or my folder meeting recordings, I would edit this and choose my folder so that you know for sure anytime you record on any meeting to the cloud that's not linked to an actual folder, it will go to my folder, which is your private area on Panopto. Now to add a mapping, which is linking a meeting ID to a certain folder, we click Add New here. We're going to put in the meeting ID, and if you copy and paste from Zoom, there are spaces that you have to remove. So I'm going to remove these spaces.
All right,
and then, yes.
We have a request to slow it down a little bit.
Okay. So let me just leave this quickly. So I have scheduled my meeting. I have copied my meeting ID. I have clicked on Panopto in my course. And then I click this pop-out icon to open Panopto in full so that I can view my settings. I click my name in the top right corner and then user settings. This shows me my default folder and any meeting IDs that I have mapped to certain folders. That's linked. That means when this meeting records to the cloud, it will be stored in this folder. To add a new one, I click Add New. I paste or type in that meeting ID. Again, if you copy it from Zoom, it will have spaces that you will need to remove. If you don't remove the spaces, it'll tell you there's an error with the meeting ID and you can fix it. Here's my meeting ID, and then I'm going to choose my folder. Now, if I don't see my course, I can start to type it in, and hopefully it will come up. Sometimes it doesn't, oftentimes it doesn't. So then I might have to drill down through this list. The first thing anyone is going to choose is this arrow to the left of SMU. Then you will likely see your college, your school name here, your sub account. My course is in the development area, so I'm going to choose this. After you click on your college, you would then see the semester. So for this semester, you'll see spring 2021. When you click that arrow, then you'll see all of your courses for that semester, and you can choose, I want it to go to this course. So now that I have my meeting ID and the correct course folder, I save. Once I do that, anytime this Zoom meeting records to the cloud, it will automatically store to this folder. So again, if you don't want your students to have automatic access, don't do this part. Leave it going to your default My Private folder, and I will show you how to share that shortly. Any questions about what I have just done? I am also going to send a file in the chat that has everything I just did in screenshot form, if you need to keep that. Okay. So once I've done that, I can close out of this page and go back to Canvas. So from any course, if I click on Panopto, I can view other folders that I own or have access to. Your students cannot. They can only see the folder associated with the course. But if I am in my Canvas course and I want to check for something in my private folder, I can see my folder. So if you choose to only send videos to students that request them, and you have them directed to your private folder, there are a few ways to do this, but I'm just going to show you the simplest and my recommendation. And if you want to try a different way, contact your ATSD and they will help you. So I'm in Panopto and I'm going to navigate. Sorry, I have automatic lights and they just turned off. I'm going to navigate to my folder, which again is private only to me unless I share something. This is the video that Susie missed and she needs, so I want to share it with her. I'm going to click on share, and then I can type in Susie's email address. Oh, that might actually be a real person, so I better not save. So I choose this person. I can decide whether to have it send them an email and say this video is ready. I can send in a message, make sure you send me your doctor's note, whatever you want. Send and save changes gives Susie access to this video. Now, if she were to have access to that video and send Bobby the link, Bobby won't be able to see it unless he logs in to Susie's account. So this is secure-ish. You know, students can find ways around things. But if you want to only send it to the people that request it, that need it, this is how you can do that. Are there any questions on sharing videos with people through email?
Well, I'd say kind of related. It's on sharing.
Okay.
So could you share it to like the course? Because say you don't want to share like all the recordings to your course, but you want to share maybe one, could you just send it to your course?
Okay, yes. And that was actually next on my list, so perfect. So if I decide, well, a couple people needed this meeting, so I'm just going to share this one to everyone, or if I just want to move it, I go to, on the video that I want to share, I've navigated to the folder where it is, I click settings, and then here I see the folder where it's currently stored. If I edit this, I have a drop-down menu of my folders. And again, you may have to drill down to find the folder that you want to send it to. You select that folder and you click save. Once you do that, it disappears from here. And if I go back to the actual course folder, there it is. So again, that is settings, and this is anytime you want to move a video from one folder to another. Settings, we're on the overview tab. We just click edit beside the folder, choose the folder where we want to move it to, and click save.
All right, since we're talking about sharing to course folders, is the stuff in a course folder available to all sections when things are cross-listed?
Okay, yes, that is also next on my list. You guys are just helping me guide right through this. Okay, so according to FERPA policy, I don't know the full policy, I'm not a FERPA expert, but you are not supposed to share a video of another section with the other section. I believe there are some forms you can have students sign if you don't want to worry with it, but you shouldn't have your footage of students in one section shared with footage of students in another, or shared with students in another section. So for cross-listed sections, I would send them all to your private folder, and I would create another subfolder inside your private folder, and that is just add folder here. Then on the folder settings, not each video, but the folder settings as a whole, you can share that either by adding email addresses of the students, which may be time intensive if it's a large section, or you can change your access to anyone with the link and then copy this link for that section, share it in an announcement or in an email with only the section it belongs to. Then they have this link. Anytime they visit the link, they'll be able to see the entire folder. And as it updates, the same link will take them to that folder. Do I need to repeat that? Okay, I see some no's. Okay, good. And it's been recorded, so you can go back and watch it if you need to. Okay, any questions before we move on?
I would say we have lots of questions, but I feel like we should just let you keep going, and we'll get to what we can after.
So we have talked about why you would want to schedule your meeting through Canvas. Another thing I did not mention, because it doesn't exist yet, but in the future, if you schedule your meeting straight through Zoom on your Canvas course, that linking the Zoom meeting to the course folder will not be necessary. It will be automatic. But that also means if you choose to not share automatically, you would have to change a couple settings. But that is not the case yet. For now, you do have to link the Zoom meeting to the course folder. And I will show you now one other thing that I forgot to mention before. So I'm going to go back into the full Panopto. So I'm going to click pop out. On your user settings, be sure that your email address here is your email address for Zoom, which would be your smu.edu email address. If you see @mail.smu.edu, your Zoom and your Panopto are not going to talk to each other. So if you see that, contact your ATSD or send a help desk message and they can help you fix that. It'll just be changing your default email address in Canvas. So I had to mention that while I thought about it, or I would have forgotten. So another thing I want to mention, I'm in my course folder in Panopto. I can change the settings for my entire folder. If I click on the gear icon and then choose the settings option in the left, I can change the availability to when approved by a publisher. So what this would do is this would send all of the videos from Zoom, from the Zoom meeting to the course folder, but they wouldn't be immediately available to students. They would be sitting there with a button that says publish or delete. And I would choose when or if to publish them. Now, when I do publish them, since they're in the course folder, they'll be available to all students. But this is a way if you want to not make them available immediately because you need to check them, edit them, or if you want to not make them available unless someone requests them, but once they do, you'll make it available to the whole class. You would set that here. So gear icon, settings, when approved by a publisher. And there is not a save button here, so you would just close this page and it saves that setting. Now everything says waiting for approval. To approve, settings, cancel, approve, reject. And I am going to change that back because I don't want mine set like that. Okay. Any questions about that? Why or how? Okay. Okay, so another thing that comes up often is if you recorded a video and you meant for it to just be your face, and instead it's the gallery view of your students. That comes up in your Zoom settings. So if you go to the Zoom website and you go to settings, you then choose the recording tab. If you have record gallery view with shared screen selected, this will possibly be the default that Panopto pulls. So I recommend just unchecking that if you never want the gallery view. If you might want the gallery view sometimes, but you typically want the active speaker view, you can also have it record these separately. Panopto is not going to automatically pull these, but they will be stored on Zoom for 7 days if you realize that you need them. So that brings me to my last point, and then we'll open it for questions. So if you have a Zoom account and a Panopto account, even if you have not linked a meeting to a folder, if you have those two accounts, anytime you record to the cloud on Zoom and a successful transfer to Panopto occurs, which should happen, your Zoom cloud recording is automatically sent to the trash immediately instead of waiting the 30 days. Once it's in the trash, it stays there for 7 days before it's permanently deleted. So you've probably gotten an email that says your Zoom cloud recording is ready. You clicked on it and it says this recording does not exist. And that's because it has made the transfer to Panopto and now it's removed from Zoom. Now, Panopto has a lot of storage. Things aren't going to auto delete. It's safe there. Zoom does not have a lot of storage. Things have to be auto deleted. So if you get that situation, know that it's on Panopto and you can find it by searching your folders, or we can help you contact your ATSD if you have a ton of trouble finding it. But if you do need your recording from Zoom, say the Panopto one is not the version that you wanted or something went wrong, on Zoom, if you click on recordings, I don't have any recordings because they've all been sent to my trash. But over here, tiny on the right, I see trash and the number 4, which means there are 4 recordings in my trash. So these each have 2 files. That's why it said 4. If I want to recover this, I click recover. And now it is back in my recordings. So then I can download it or delete it permanently. Sharing it, there's really no point because it's going to delete again in 30 days. I would stick to Panopto for sharing and storing your Zoom files. So again, if there's a successful transfer from Zoom to Panopto, your recording is automatically deleted, sent to the trash to be permanently deleted 7 days later. If you have a Zoom recording that has not transferred to Panopto, 30 days after the recording, it will be sent to the trash, where 7 days later, it will be deleted permanently. Okay, so now let's get to the questions, because I think I went over the main things, but I'd like to spend a good chunk of time answering questions or showing you things that I might have gone too fast on.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to start from the top. So Greg asked, for those teaching multiple sections, is it suggested to have separate Zoom meetings for each section, or have all sections as one meeting and then just split the video, like the recording from each section?
Okay, so well, I'll just talk about both. So if it is normal for the students to be in the class at the same time, then you don't have to worry about them not seeing each other on the video. You could share that with everyone. Like if it's an honors section and a regular section, but they actually would meet in the classroom at the same time, that is fine. If it's two different class times, I would have two different meetings. Mostly just so that you don't get confused, and so that your students don't get confused, so they know what time their class is, you know which class is which, and just keep those separate. But that is just my opinion.
Well, and then I'd say it also saves you the extra step of splitting the video, trying to find where you stopped and then started the other section. And so how can you get individual section videos only to the appropriate students? We have a lot of questions about cross-section stuff.
Okay. So if I had two sections and my Canvas course was class listed, I would not follow the steps to link the meeting ID to the course folder. I would let Panopto automatically send it to my default folder, which is private to me. I would then come into that private folder, my folder, and I would create two subfolders or more if you have more sections. So that's just add folder, give it a name, press enter, and here you go. You can then link each meeting ID to this private folder subfolder, or you can move it in there manually. And linking the meeting ID is just like we did before, except instead of choosing the course folder, you would choose my folder section 1. So then when you have these videos here, there are a few ways to do it. If you have a small amount of students, I might invite them. Actually, don't click it here. We're going to click it here. So this is the folder as a whole. So pretend there are a ton of videos in here and more to be added later. If I want to share this folder, I can add the students' email addresses here, or I can change the settings of who has access from specific people, which means only the people enrolled in this folder, to anyone with the link. If I choose this, I can then copy this link and create an announcement and change this, which I only have one section, but change all sections to section 1 and say section 1 course lecture videos, and then assign this only to section 1. Save that announcement, then it's always there for them to come back and click on. That's what I would do.
All right. Let's see, someone has a 100% in-person class and say everyone is there that day. Do they need to record their class? What's your opinion?
My opinion, if it's in person and you know that everyone is there, you have called roll, you haven't missed anything, you haven't missed anyone, you know that everyone is there, no. But also think if you are in the middle of class, you haven't connected Zoom because you're not recording, and someone gets a phone call that something happened and they have to leave, you'll have to take the time in the middle of class to start that recording. And also, I think recordings, this is just personal opinion, I think recordings are good for you to have so that you can review, what did I say? What did I tell them would be on the test? What was that thing that we talked about? What was that question that that student had? So my personal opinion, I think it's a good idea to have it. You don't have to share it, but that's entirely up to you. I can't tell you you have to do it, and I wouldn't tell you that you have to do it.
Okay, so I have one session when 2 classes meet at the same time, and I can make the recording automatically save in one Canvas class, but can't automate it in the other. Is there a way to automate the recording into both Canvas classes?
I have not tried to do that. So there go my lights again. Have you tried to link, and it tells you that you can't link two meeting IDs to, or the same meeting ID to two separate folders?
This is from Janice, and she says yes.
Okay. Okay, yes. So this might be a little time consuming to do it this way, but I'm going to show you another way. The first way, the easier way, would be to take the same thing I talked about with the 2 sections. So if this is the course that you've linked it to, you can take that folder settings and share it with, let me get in here. So you can take the folder settings and share it with the students in the other section. Well, you can't share your own personal folder. So you can share it with the students in the other section with the announcement or by adding their email address. Or you can find the videos, and you would have to do this per video each time. So this is the more time-consuming way. If you click on settings and go to manage, you can copy the session. It takes a little while to process, but once the copy is available, or I guess before the copy is available, you can then move it to the folder for the other section, and then it will be available to the students. So that will be something that you have to do after each class. So that is a little more work than just making it shareable by the folder link and posting that in the other class. Another thing you could do if you have your course set up in modules or you use pages, you can, let's add a page here, just a new page, lecture videos. So I can, on anything in Canvas, an announcement, a page, whatever, I can link to or embed a Panopto video. So I could find that other course folder, choose this video, and insert it here. And now this might, oh, that's the one I just copied, so it's still processing. You might need to change the settings on the video to be available to anyone with the link here. So that would be the same step you'd take to share it with the link. But if you want the students to have the same experience where they have the video in the Canvas course without having to visit a link, this is how you could do that.
Okay, we had a couple people who, when they clicked on, they saw the Zoom in the navigation bar, but when they click on it, they don't get any like redirection.
Completely blank?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're using Safari, if this happens to you, right now I can answer, but the best thing if this happens to you in the future, One thing is to try a different browser. Another, send a ticket to the help desk and tell them what's happening and what browser you're using, and they'll tell you how to fix it. So I know in Safari, you have to go to your privacy preferences and uncheck, uncheck prevent cross-site tracking. In Chrome, you have to go to your accessibility settings and deselect use acceleration hardware. If it's Firefox or another one, I don't know those off the top of my head, but it's going to be settings with your browser, and you can always send in an email or a ticket to the help desk or your ATSD, and they should be able to help you.
Okay, if schedule Zoom meetings on Canvas, do they automatically populate the course calendar?
No.
All right. Is the stuff in the course folder available to all sections when things are cross-listed?
Yes.
Awesome. Is it possible to get the recordings to go to the course folder but keep them hidden from the students?
Yes. So 2 ways to do that. I mentioned one. In the course folder, if you go to the folder settings and you choose settings, course folder settings, and then the side tab settings, if you change sessions become available to when approved by a publisher, unless you click approve, students do not see them. The other way to do it is to remove Panopto from your navigation bar. That will also limit you from getting to Panopto in that course. But again, if you click on Panopto in any course, you can switch to view another folder. The third way is to just, well, that was for sending it to the course folder. The other way to hide them from students is to just not send them to the course folder.
All right, we have a, I feel like we need to pause and answer this question really fast. Faye, what does ATSD mean and who are they?
So ATSD is Academic Technology Services Director. I am the ATSD for Dedman College. Each school has one. They are your go-to for anything Canvas, Zoom, projects, research. They're your first stop for any question you have, especially if you don't know who to go to. They can answer it or direct you.
All right. Should we delete recordings from the fall semester, or is there a requirement to, like, from Panopto, I should say, or is there a requirement to keep them?
I will have to get clarification on if there's an SMU requirement to keep them. You don't have to delete them. They have plenty of storage. It's not a problem for the technical side of Panopto, but I will find out if there's some sort of requirement on keeping those, and I'll make sure to email everyone that was in this session, and we'll have the ATSDs send out a notice when we have that answer. Unless, Jennifer, you wouldn't know that off the top of your, okay.
I don't know about the requirement. I would just say, like, based on last spring and the shutdown and COVID and everything going on, I feel like it might just be safe to keep them for now until, you know, you get that for sure and policy answer, or you feel like there's, you know, no chance of another shutdown. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
All right, I want to make sure we get to this question because I think this is really important. If people already have course meetings set up in Zoom before syncing them in this way, should they delete those and then set up the meeting in Canvas, or how would you, is there a better way to link them?
So you absolutely do not have to delete them. I would recommend that if you did not schedule your meetings through this Zoom bar here, that you remove it that is not what I meant to do, that you remove it from your navigation so that students don't get confused, because this is only going to take them to meetings that were scheduled inside Canvas. So I would just get rid of that. Now it's not there. They won't be confused. On your homepage, your syllabus, or in an announcement, you would post the link somehow. So if you have the template that I have here, this link is currently set to send me to that Zoom bar, the Zoom navigation that was over here. What I would do is then get my meeting link from Zoom that I've already scheduled. So here it is. I'm going to copy this link. That's not what I meant to do either. Haven't had enough coffee yet. So I'm going to copy this link. This is the meeting I scheduled straight on Zoom. I'm going to go back to my Canvas course. I'm going to edit my homepage, my syllabus, my announcements, wherever I have my Zoom meeting or want to put it. And I'm going to change this link from being the LTI for Zoom inside Canvas to being the actual link to the Zoom meeting. So once I do that, when they click this, it's going to take them to the Zoom meeting. So as long as you have it somewhere where they can always access it, it doesn't matter if you scheduled it through Canvas or through Zoom.
All right, so we need to wrap up, but I think this is really important now that we know who the ATSDs are for following up with any other questions that have come in. Should people reach out to their ATSD first, or ask or send a note through a ticket through the help desk?
It's really your ATSD's preference. So if you don't have a close relationship with them, but you want one, then reach out to them. If you don't have a close relationship with them, send it to the help desk. Most help desk tickets that are associated with Zoom, Canvas, or anything like that are routed to your ATSD. So either way, it's going to get to them. I don't have a preference. I get an email either way, whether it's from a person or from a help desk ticket. So either way is fine.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are a little past time. I know there are some questions that didn't get answered, but I've saved the chat, and so we can follow up with you. And this is recorded, so you can always refer back to the how-to steps. And anything else you want to add, Faye, before we get out of here?
Just that we'll also include a resource sheet along with the recording with more information. I'll try to look at the chat and make sure we have everything covered.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.